and welcome to Retro Cars Reborn. I'm Lee. In today's video we're going to be fitting this rear quarter panel that I made, so let's get on with it. So the first thing I want to do with this panel is I want to straighten this edge out, because unpicking it, it's got very bent. Look, that lower edge, it's just bent in loads of places. The easiest way to do it is with a hammer and dolly, but it's also very difficult.
I 100% have absolutely nothing any good to say here at all, other than whack whack whack, smashy smash smash smash, look at me with a hammer and dolly.
So we can see where this edge needs trimming. But I'm starting to see that it was leaving a gap for us when it's pressed against the car anyway. So we've got the absolute rotted lower quarter, and I lay it inside the good rear quarter so we can draw a line, look, of where it perfectly fits. It pretty much, that's how much I've got to cut off the edge, just that little bit there. But we're going to leave an extra little bit so that we can flare it back up. Even though this arch of a standard 205, the lip is so much thicker than on the GTI anyway. Look how thin it is. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I've also cleaned up all of the spot welds that were left. You saw me straighten that edge. I've gone and cleaned up all the little tiny bits of rust that were coming through, and the spot welds. So I'm going to cut this edge off, then I shall refit it to the side again, and then we've got to look at where I'm going to trim it across here and trim it round here. And we also need to get to the spot welds that are down here and unpick them from the back panel so that they can be spot welded back together, just like the sill. Cut the edge off, leaving that little bit so that I can make an edge on it. I use the tin snips to take the edge off, because you can basically go and make a curve while you're cutting, as long as you go slow. I've also just shaved the edges down so that there's no little bits like that bit there, look, just sticking up out of nowhere. We'll fit it again. Now I can draw round it on the car, and we're going to leave the same on the car here. I'll show you. So like I've cut right underneath this groove here, for this front piece that needs to come off, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to cut round here and across here to take it off for now, so that this piece is out of the way, so I can start to figure out how far back it's going to sit, and join up with this edge. So let's mark this up and remove it. So I've just removed all the duct tape from around there and get it a little clean, and I'm just remembering that this inner piece here is, at some point, even though it's got movement there, it is spot welded. There's one there, even though we're not going to go that high up. There is a spot weld there. There's one just there, but they're pretty hard to see, so I'm going to clean all this area up first, and then we should be able to see where we're going to cut it off. So I'm pretty sure that there are none here, because it completely flexes away. Look, there's definitely one there, and these ones are so difficult to see. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there, and they were only found really by looking from the back. So I'll drill them and we shall see what becomes of it. Well, with the spot welds out, it definitely came off, but it was very difficult to cut through it, especially to get into this corner. I had to cut a triangle into it in order to progressively get into that corner without damaging any of the inner. So I'm going to overlap the repair panel one more time, just to see if I'm going to do it now along here, right along this edge, or I'm going to go up to that second edge. But I'm thinking this is as far as I really need to go. I might go into that lip there, just to be absolutely certain, because that hole there can be repaired. It's only tiny, and that hole there can be repaired. It can be knocked out from the inside. So this is a look at it from the inside with the panel in place. You can just see the clecos holding it on, and yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the original GTI's swage line in, even though it's damaged. I'll just weld that little hole up there and weld up that little hole at the front, and I'm just going to draw around this now like a template, straight across this line, straight round that corner and across that front, so we can cut it and get it welded in. I just thought before I chuck it on and cut anything, we'll just weld that hole up at the front, weld that hole up that was there. I will obviously still weld this hole up and that hole up, but we'll do that once the rear quarter is in. Well, it's in place. It hasn't gone as well as I expected. You can just see that there's, as soon as you push it in that little bit, that it actually fits all the way up. But yeah, here I got pretty spot on. There's just a little bit of a gap just all the way around there, look. But here I totally fucked it up. I kept getting a little gap here, so I just kept trimming a little bit and then trimming a little bit, and I realised it basically just wasn't pushed in to this bottom corner as far as possible, which pulled it down. But I can fill that up. But yes, I'm going to now attempt to weld it in place, and well, let's see how it goes, eh? Well, I've got some spot welds down there to hold that in place, so therefore this piece is all perfectly lined up, and it holds this holds all this piece in place too. But what happened? Oh look, the welder just destroys everything. Look, it's just absolutely just eating through it. So there must be a load of rust on this part of the GTI on the inside, because it's just been blowing it away. You can see the heat isn't even that much that's in it, but yeah, it's just destroying it. So when we get to this edge, it's going to be really, really touch and go, because I know that there's some rust in the back here. It's only surface rust, but it's enough for it to start to eat through everything. So we'll keep welding, we'll plug some holes up, and we'll see what it looks like afterwards, eh? But yeah, just looking at it like this, it's just so much better. One gorgeously fitted sill, and one soon to be gorgeously fitted rear quarter. Done another pass on it and ground it back. You can see where the panel wasn't far enough forward there, look. And where I've not done it at all there, look. There's just a line. But yeah, it would seem that the actual piece of the GTI that I left in had surface rust inside it, because it just destroyed it, look. It just kept blowing holes in it all over the place. So now that we'll let it cool down again, and then we'll give it another pass. You can already feel how wavy it is, so it's going to need a skimmer filler to make it straight again. We'll knock it out with a hammer in some places. But yeah, we'll let it cool down and we'll pass it with the welder again. So I just chucked some primer on it. It's weld through primer, so just to protect it, because it's annoying me now, because every single time it's just destroying it. It's just blowing more holes through it, more and more and more. This front look is practically done up until there now, where it's just fucking destroying it, and it's getting annoying, because the more welding you put in it, the more heat you put in it, the more it's going to start to distort the panel. You see it's starting to kick it out at the bottom there. It's getting a little kink in it there. So yeah, some weld through primer on it just for now. I've passed it with the welder again, and we're just down to these small holes here. That lip still needs grinding down a lot more. But yeah, that's the third pass with the welder now. The problem being, the more passes, the more wavy it becomes, and it's definitely not flat anymore. I've just gone over it again with the weld through primer, and this is why a little bit of filler on this panel won't mind, because when you've got the body kit on, I can hold it in place. It pretty much goes straight over where we've joined the panel. Pretty sure it fits like that, yes. God, I can't wait till it's got to the point where I can put the kit on. The kit looks black at the minute because it's wet, because I just gave it a quick wipe over, but it's actually grey because this car's a 1988 205 GTI, so the body kit's actually grey. I don't have a full body kit for it because I've just been buying the odd piece when it's been showing up on eBay for the right price. But yeah, it certainly looks so much better with the kit on. So I went over it again a 5th time to try and remove all the holes. There's only that pinhole there that will not come out, and I used a tool that I seen a lot of Americans using. It doesn't seem to be a thing in the UK, so I had to make one, and that is what they call a copper backer. Now it's basically a piece of copper that you put behind what you're welding, and as you weld to it, this takes all of the heat out of the metal, and you can also use it to build up material on the actual piece of copper and then stick it in where you get the little holes, and it helps you fill them up without blowing bigger holes in. So yeah, so this was just a T piece of 22mm copper pipe that's been beaten to within an inch of its life, and then I've beat it as flat as I can, and it worked a treat. Yeah, basically I just went along putting it behind, filling all of the holes in with this behind, and yeah, it works a treat. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, one rear quarter, one sill fitted. I think this side's done. You've seen what it looks like with the body kit on as well. So once it's been filler's been put on it and it's all been put back to as it should be, straight, because if I zoom in, look, that's how much filler is still currently sat on the body of the car anyway, so the whole car still needs fully sanding down. That hole I will fill in when I do this piece here, when I actually finish this section off, which I will do once the other side has had its sill and its rear quarter put on. So I can take the cage out and I can jack the back end up. We can take all the beam out and all the brakes and the wheels, and we can literally seal that piece in there, because also I think there's going to be some issues around this back under here. The other side definitely has a hole in it. Now that's normally because on the other side in a GTI, that's where the rear washer bottle is for the rear windscreen wiper and washer, and that's why it rots out, because when you fill it, water gets spilt in there and it just rots from the inside. So yeah, there we go. I am absolutely perfectly happy with how that is right now. So we can move on to the other side. Oh yeah, I've still got to just drop 2 bits of weld on there. We'll get the other side sill on and rear quarter on, and then we'll repair this arch, this inner arch, this front piece here. We'll cut it off and we'll make a new bit, and the other arch is on the roof that I've already repaired, but again, no point putting it on the driver's side front until the sill's on. So yeah, this side is done. It looks freaking great. I am super happy with that. It from the inside, it's just welded where them spot welds were, if I grab a torch, you can have a look. Oh, the torch will drop in there. Da-da-dee. Da-da-da. You can't see anything. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait. There we are. Yes, if it will focus. No, it won't even focus. But, yes, you can see the seam. There we go. You can see the seam. I've welded it where the spot welds would have been. And all this area gets filled with seam sealer once the shell's been painted. Because you can see in the bottom corner, look, there's a ginormous hole. I don't know why Peugeot put it there, but they did. I think it looks freaking great. I am super happy with how that rear quarter has turned out. So thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, remember to leave me a comment, and check out all of my other social medias, and I'll see you in the next video.